Good morning, nerds. It's Monday, and it's 7:01. I was planning to leave pretty soon, so I'm going to have to keep this pretty short. This morning is the first morning we've had significant cold overnight, immediately following a relatively cold day. And that means that this morning is the first one where we truly enter winter mode here. Nate, as you are uncomfortably aware, and Rob, as you have no doubt heard stories and legend of, our house gets pretty cold. Like really cold. But I thought I'd give you a quick primer on what you would need to know if you were going to come and live here. Some of the things that we've discovered over time. I just want to make sure that you're prepared should you need to, I don't know, come and rescue us from frost giants or something. So, morning routine. Come downstairs and make sure you have plenty of time. So the first thing you want to do before you do anything else is check and see if the fire is lit, and if so, how much. You want to rake over the coals and make sure that they're really close to the air and open the air all the way. And check if you have time to light the fire. You do. Trust me, you do. Make sure you light the fire. You want a good healthy blaze. You also want to remember to go get a good healthy pile of firewood into the house before you do anything like getting dressed. This is all fairly straightforward so far, but the first thing that you may not have thought of is the importance of preheating your pants. That's right. Preheat your pants, because if you've been being neat, you probably have them stowed away up in the dresser, or, you know, at least you've carefully folded them and you put them, you know, by the bedside or something, and it's cold up there. It's freezing, like literally. So bring them down and put them by the fire that you just made sure was big, and preheat your pants. You're going to want to do this as soon as possible to make sure they're nice and toasty before you go to put them on. Breakfast. Tea. Tea is always on the menu, although I suppose if you had some sort of flaming beverage, that might be preferable, but tea is pretty good. And for food, of course, hot cereal is a good choice. Other hot food is good, too. This morning I had cold cereal because I didn't have time for hot things. Sadness. Now, a note about water. When you go to the bathroom in the morning, make sure that the sound of the toilet flushing is followed by the sound of the water pump turning on. If it is not, it is time to go get an electric heater and an extension cord, plug them both in, point the heater into your cabinet, right under the sink. And that's because the water pump is frozen. Just a little bit. Just enough that it won't turn on. It's not broken, as we first thought when that first happened. No, it's just frozen. And if you thaw it out, it'll work okay. So just do that. Note about the environment. In this case, I don't mean protecting trees, although that is important to me, and soil erosion and all that. In this case, I mean the environment of the home. Because in winter, your home is a fortress against the marauding hordes of frost giants. I mentioned them earlier. They want to steal and dissipate your heat purely for spite. And it makes them really slippy. And they like that because they can then use the snow outside as a slip and slide, and then they come and they get slippy again, and it just makes a lovely ice tunnel. They really like it. And so they don't stop, ever, because of the slip and slide. If your house predates modern insulating methods like ours does, then many of your walls have a somewhat, how shall I say, 3/4-inch plywood sort of feeling to the fortifications. Plus, we're outnumbered about 30,000 to 2. So, there are a few solutions here. First, did you light the fire? Did you? Make sure it's still lit. And then you want to consolidate your forces in the bailey, or by the stove in our case. Now, reinforcements of all kinds are useful in other situations where people need to shore up weak walls or create them where barriers don't exist. They do things like pile furniture and nail it together and that sort of thing, making a barricade. The idea is similar here, although slightly different methods. You want good, heavy curtains. Like those. Jasmine made those last winter. That's a good idea. They're insulated. That one should be closed more, but the curtain rod is broken. We should fix that fortification. You want to close all the doors so that the frost giants have a lot harder time, because they're already in the rest of your house, you see. Fortunately, they're pretty neat. They don't wreck stuff. They just kind of mill around and are generally cold. And you really want some door snakes at the bottom, because drafts are the enemy. Frost giants can turn into gaseous form, sneak under the door, and steal your heat little by little. Other pointers. Have some good, strong, helpful friends, because you're always going to need more firewood. Firewood is how you keep the frost giants at bay. And so I'd like to take this moment to once again thank all the folks who came and helped chop firewood at my house the other day. And Neat, thank you also for coming and bringing your wonderful warm presence. Like, both thermostatically, because you and I both generate a lot of heat, and I really appreciate that about us, but also, like, emotionally, because that's good too. Keep the chainsaw sharp, because you might need to go out and cut wood very soon. But more to the point, if I see any zombies stealing from my woodpile, it is on. I mean, it is on! And that's about it for pointers about defenses. Now, there are some major benefits. For example, I am willing to bet both of you that neither of you has as much refrigerator space as I do. That's right. Just keep those frozen goods coming. I've got a whole parlor to put them in. And that's all the time I have. And remember, northern eagles really dislike snowstorms. See you nerds soon!